exorcism that I will never forget. The first one actually was in the convent, and that was not successful. It was that morning when David came under possession and would not get into the car. He ran away from his family. He had a knife. He actually tried to kill his mother and his grandmother. And this is not David. David was a very complacent child, very docile. And when I walked in, he was laying on the bed in a fetus position. This priest was standing alongside of him. And I said to the priest, "Don't stand so close," because he had a bad habit of taking his fist and just hitting you. The priest backed up, and suddenly that boy rose up out of the bed very swiftly, landed on the floor, ran into a bathroom, and locked the door. He would not come out. Hysterical laughter came from the bathroom. Finally, we broke the door. We got him out of there. We brought him to the convent at St. Joseph's, where the exorcism was performed on September 9th, the birthday of the Blessed Mother.
Yeah, September 8th.
And we felt that this would be successful. And he told us that what they called the beast, which was seen many times in the house and out in the grounds, was back at the house. I went back there, and I had taken holy water with me while the priest stayed in the convent. I then went through the house, and I used what we call religious provocation. I sprinkled the holy water, and there was a rocking chair there. This rocking chair suddenly started to move back violently, back and forth. There were loud pounding sounds in the house. And then what I could hear is growling down in the cellar. Now, these were some of the sounds that we heard the very first night that we went there with Dr. Giangrasso. But it sounded like somebody had a 2x4 and was hitting the floor underneath us, but nobody was there.
Yeah, the floor.
Now, what's this second slide that we're going to see here, Ed?
All right, these are some of the headlines. Terrifying story behind the devil-made youth kill case. That's Debbie Glotzel that you see there, who was a fiancée of Arnie, and that's Arnie Wheeler in the corner up there.
Okay.
And we can see the next one.
Can we get that? Okay, they're showing you
Yeah,
as the
they're showing-
investigators in
As
the
the
case.
investigators.
Now, what year did you say this was?
1980 that we became involved in the case, Tony. But, you know, one thing that we have to stress that's very important is that we knew it was inevitable that there was going to be a tragedy. We knew it. We even notified the police.
Because of the violence. And Lorraine did notify the police, Chief.
What did they have to say about it?
Well, there was nothing we could do in advance.
In other words, before the fact, there's nothing.
Before the fact, there was nothing they could do except watch and go to the calls whenever they would happen at the home. But all the priests knew it. It wasn't just myself. It was all of the priests who were well aware that it was inevitable there would be a tragedy. But never, ever did we think it would be Arnie Johnson.
Now, keep in mind that we had psychiatrists look at this boy. They told us, point blank, the boy was not mentally ill.
Oh, no.
The outward manifestations that we look for in case of possession occurred in that house. Furniture moving around, pounding sounds, the hystericalness of the boy, the strength of the boy, speaking in other languages. It was just a stereotype possession case. We could look at some more of those slides. We'll show the mother and father.
Here's another article, I guess, on the
This is another
possession.
one.
Yes, that's
Arnie.
Arnie Johnson.
See in the left-hand corner there.
Yes.
What's
Now,
the next
if,
slide?
You know, if the judge had let us bring in our evidence, which were recordings, photographs, eyewitness accounts, and the priests. The priests were waiting outside of the courthouse in Danbury, Connecticut, to go into that courthouse
To testify?
and testify that what occurred to this young boy and Arnie Johnson was indeed diabolical possession. But I could understand the judge's feelings too. He didn't want to be known as the judge who allowed the devil made me do it case into his courtroom.
Right. Okay, I guess this is an article that talks about you
Devil
and...
made him do it. And the devil did make him do it.
Oh, yeah, we were all
Arnie Johnson was under diabolical possession. He didn't know what happened for at least 2 hours. In that 2 hours, he had killed Alan Bono. This young man wouldn't hurt anyone or anything. You'd have to know Arnie Johnson like we knew him. Very polite, a very good-living young man, very hard-working. He'd work until 5 o'clock, landscaping, cutting trees, have his supper, go to bed until 11. Then he'd get up and he'd stay up all night long,
With,
holding this young boy down.
He would have David sleep next to him so that the family, the parents, Judy and Carl Glotzel, this took a terrible toll on this family. You cannot believe the emotional and physical toll.
I always said that if a court would allow us to bring our evidence into this guy, that there is the lawyer,
the
Martin
attorney.
Manella,
Yeah.
and he put his position in jeopardy as a lawyer by going in on this case, but he knew that the boy was possessed. He felt we could win the case, never knowing that the judge would not allow us to bring in our evidence. But Lorraine and I set a precedent in 1990 in which we did win a case where a woman was driven out of a house in Hebron, Connecticut that was haunted by ghosts. We would have won this case too, and Arnie Johnson would have not gone to prison.
now, is this one of the priests that was in the house?
That's the exorcist.
He was the exorcist.
Yes, he was, and he was very, very badly affected by this case.
Yeah, in what way?
Well, Tony, it was an all-night session at that house one night. All night we were up with the exorcisms and the praying. And it was that night, Tony, that I taught that little boy the guardian angel prayer, that angel of God, my guardian
Yes.
dear. I taught him how to say that prayer. And that seemed to give this child a certain amount of comfort. And we were really exhausted, tired.
But remember,
But-
the exorcist is attacked, not just while
Yeah.
he's performing exorcism,
But
but in
he-
his own rectory.
That's what I was just going to tell you. Now, we left there early morning. Father Virgilac wanted to get back to Norwalk because he was going to say Mass that morning, and his parents were going to be at Mass. He did not want them to know. He didn't want them to be concerned for him. And he had shared things with his sister, but he had not shared things with his dad, who, by the way, was chief of police.
Oh, really?
And so that morning...
Chief of police in Norwalk.
Yes.
In Norwalk.
Yes. Oh, no, not in Brookfield.
Okay.